Welcome to another edition of the Virgin Islands Focus on the Marketplace. My name is Anthony Weeks, and this afternoon we have an exciting program for you this afternoon. It's been quite some time since we've been here, and it's well worth it because there's a lot of updates, good news to share with you this afternoon. And in the studio this afternoon, we have my co-hosts and members of the EDA team. And we do have a special guest. We're featuring one of the local businesses here on VI Focus on the Marketplace. Good afternoon, Jennifer. How are you?
Good afternoon, Anthony. It's good to be back again.
I know we had like a long hiatus.
Yeah, it's over a month, I think, since we've done our last taping, and that's because we've been so busy.
Yeah.
We've been on the road and getting things as we committed to this community that we're going to do about economic development. So I'm just excited to be sharing the audience today some exciting news, some good news. You know, the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority's Focus on the Marketplace is truly about that. It is sharing with our community the activities that we are doing to help stabilize and move towards what I call the resurgence of the Virgin Islands economy. And today our focus is going to be about small business and exciting things about small business. I'm going to be talking.
I get excited about small business.
Listen, because it's the engine of
absolutely
not just our country, but I think
it's
the world.
Fabric. It's the fabric of our economy.
I like that, the fabric of our economy.
Absolutely.
It's a good thing.
Yes.
It's a good thing. Anthony, I've been getting a lot of positive comments about this show. The community feels that they've learned quite a bit about the overall programs at EDA, but I think it's general because we're a pretty good team.
Yeah, you know, it's as you're out there and you're out there just kind of out in the public.
Yes.
You come in contact with folks, and just out of nowhere, people just come and say,
yes.
you know, I'm learning so much about the EDA.
Yes.
Where they really didn't have any idea of the magnitude and the role that the EDA plays in this community and in terms of its impact in the economy. So yes, you're correct. And it's like it's unscripted. You could be out anywhere, and all of a sudden, someone says, "Aren't you the guy on TV?" And you know, I'm learning so much from that program that I didn't know anything about.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think that was our objective. The objective is to, you know, inform our community exactly what the agency is mandated to do. But also, I think what it has done is that it has also allowed for folks in the community to give us ideas about, well, you know, are you familiar with Crujan Mead? Are you familiar with this small business concern? Did you know this product? And I thought, wow, it's already being done. So let's showcase some of our local business concerns. And there's a program that I think, Anthony, we must share with our community, and that's part of one of today's focus. And it's an exciting program because we have in our community some participants in a program that's federally funded. It's called the STEP program. And they just got back from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and from New York, both at foodie shows as it's
Foodies.
Foodies.
Yeah.
And one of our very, very wonderful participant, I've known her forever, Nadine Marchena Ken, who is the director of our Enterprise Zone, has a responsibility for this STEP program. And she said to me, "You have got to taste honey wine."
Nice.
I said, "Honey wine?" She said, "Yes, honey wine, made right here in St. Croix." And I thought, oh, but I know that person.
Right.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Miss Wanda Wright.
But before we do,
Yes.
let's introduce the other panel on the show. And
right.
also, in the background, there is a spanking brand new website.
Yes.
And we must talk about this new website. It's looking fabulous.
Very good.
But
Very
with
good.
us, of course, we do have a person who has been elevated.
Yes.
She's risen to new heights. New area of responsibility.
Yes.
Let's drum roll, please.
Drum roll. She has been on this program before.
Yes, in a different capacity.
In a different capacity.
Yes.
The community knows Ms. Kusa Holloway very well. Kusa worked in the Enterprise Zone for many, many years as one of our facilitators of the efforts and initiative under the Enterprise Zone. And Ms. Kusa Holloway has been promoted as the new manager of the incubator program for EDA.
Bravo!
Bravo!
Thank you.
Bravo! It's a testament, I think,
you.
to Kusa's commitment to small businesses in the territory, and I believe She is certainly well regarded by the agency, very well prepared, and excited about this effort that she's undertaken to try and create an opportunity for our community to participate in our incubator small program. So she'll talk a little bit about that.
Wonderful.
But we have another guest.
Yes, we do
And
have a
I'm
guest with us today.
excited about her. Her name
always
is
good to
Miss
have-
Wanda
yes.
Wright, who is a participant in this fantastic initiative that I started to talk about so quickly without properly introducing.
We're excited
my
about
guest.
all the information
So
we have to
forgive
share, right?
forgive my protocol foie pois, as they say around here. Miss Wanda Wright is participating in this 3-year pilot trade and export program that is a match funding grant that is given to states and territories to assist eligible small business concern enter and succeed in the international marketplace. The program, the STEP program, is funded in part by the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and this was a grant that we applied for under EDA, and it is managed, as I said earlier, under our Enterprise Zone program under the direction of our director of that program, Ms. Nadine Marchena Ken. And we received, the first time, it was a competitive grant. We received a small grant of about $28,000, I believe that was. But then we saw the need and demonstrated that we were quite capable of taking our eligible small business concerns to the international market. And we applied for another grant, and we were very successful in receiving a funding of approximately $400,000 plus. And we're using that program to really try and take the entrepreneurs in our territories and give those who've been doing great and fantastic things to try and get them out there in the international marketplace. Because I always say that we have good products out of the territory. It's a matter of helping our small business concerns learn the art and the skill of getting to the international market. And so Wanda Wright is here. And I'm going to let her speak about this exciting venture she's been on.
Right.
And it's a good thing.
And before
So well
we
goes,
before we do commence with that, let me just say that on previous episodes we talk about when folks will say, you'd hear folks say, well, the economy's bad, certainly not a good time to go into business. It doesn't bode well for, if you will, the survivability of a new startup enterprise. And that could not be so further than the truth. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of America's famous companies and very famous brands started during depressions and Great Recessions. A lot of these companies are well-known brands, and I don't have the list in front of me, but we're talking about a lot of different companies who have grown they were created in the dark period of our economy, and now these are multinational companies. And so we also talk about, when you go into your business, it's not always about the local marketplace. The local marketplace is wonderful if you are able to develop a product or services that you can cater to the local marketplace. But when you venture into business, it's not only about the local marketplace. Where there is a demand for a particular product or service, you seek that market out.
Right.
And so what's really, for me, what I'm excited about is the fact that the STEP program, which is the State Trade and Export Promotion Program, affords local Virgin Island businesses to give them an outlet, a platform where if they have a viable product or service, they're now in a position to be able to offer that to if you will, a wider market. And so I wanted to kind of highlight that because, people always, you hear the conversation, oh, you guys are pushing small business and startup business, but things are so bad. We don't know who wants to take that kind of chance. Who wants to go borrow money? But you have to think beyond the local market and look at the fact that this is a global market, and there's an opportunity to expand your marketplace.
And in fact, the expansion to the world or the global market is occurring at speed that at a snap of a finger or a click of a button, we can purchase things from everywhere.
Right.
And so I think the internet and what that opportunity provides for small business concerns such as Mrs. Wright's business, which I got to get her to start talking about this because this is so exciting. But you're right, Anthony. And to that, hopefully during this segment of the show, we can talk about how we are promoting our small business concerns who are in our STEP program to the world, because our VI Marketplace website is up and running.
Right, and your new website have this information.
It has the link.
It's posted,
Yes.
the STEP program
Yes.
on your new website, your spanking brand new website.
On our website, the EDA spanking new, and thank you, Anthony.
Yes.
Yes. It is a brand new website.
And this is what it looks like, folks. Look, this is
Yeah. If
this
we
is
can
what it
point
looks
to
like. Look at
that,
it, huh?
can we
Look at
can
this.
we show what that is?
I mean, look at the interactive flash content that's taking place. Beautiful images of the Virgin Islands.
Right.
Nice backdrop, and it's great. It's a great job.
What we wanted to say to the world is the VI is open for business. We had feedbacks about the website, how easy it was for folks to maneuver through it to gather information. So what we did is that the website, EDA's website, was redesigned, and guess who redesigned it?
Night and day between the two sites. You know
I'm
that, right?
telling you, I'm getting the feedback.
Yeah.
But you know who designed it?
Who designed it?
A local Crucian entrepreneur.
Fantastic.
Shamari Moorhead.
Fantastic.
And I tell people all the time, I know we've got the talent here. And so he redesigned our website, made it very user-friendly. And in fact, when folks go on the EDA website, what you're going to be seeing are actual images of products being made in the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
So you're going to see, I mean, look at the beautiful sites of Christiansted, St. Thomas, St. John, all three islands. A little bit to think of our other fourth island is there, but those are just homes for the
You're
time
not talking
being.
about Water Island, are you?
I'm talking about Water Island. So you'll see some of Gold Coast yachts, catamarans. But as you go on the site, you can click on how to start a business, and that
Right.
takes you through a whole area of how to get your licensing and so forth. If you want to grow your business, there's an
Exactly.
opportunity to get on EDA's EDC program or loans.
And what I like is the three
links?
the three buttons.
Yes.
Very easy,
Click.
Exactly. When somebody when they go to a website, they don't
Yes.
want to do a lot of reading.
Right.
And they want easy access.
Right.
Start a business, click, grow your business, relocate your business. The three main categories in terms of navigation. of
In
the site.
fact, I was meeting with a potential developer last week, and he said, by the way, I went on your website and I was able to complete my EDC application like that. He said, it was fast, it was quick, I was able to get it done. So I want to give credit to the team at EDA, and of course Shamari Moorhead from Crucian Point Inc., who redesigned this, and certainly,
So it's e-commerce enabled.
there you go.
E-commerce friendly.
There you go.
It's a seamless process.
Right.
It's a one-stop shop.
Right.
You go there and you're able to fulfill whatever you're desiring.
And not only for the EDA program, but we've also provided links to other government agencies. So on the site, you'll be able to see, the Office of Incorporation within the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. You'll see the Department of Licenses and Consumer Affairs, links to the Department of Labor. I mean, just links to all of the appropriate
Fantastic.
government agencies.
Fantastic.
And you
Fantastic.
click on those links, and you're right in those departments,
Fantastic.
and you can maneuver your way through. There are some more exciting things that's going to come up with this website, because as we begin to grow and develop more content to place on the website. For example, there are folks who've asked us, could you put information about the small businesses who are on your local supplier list, who are eligible small business service providers to the EDC company. So we're going to upload all of that information. So I'm excited about that, and thank you for that. But
Plus,
yes.
for those who have satellite TV,
Thank you.
and we're on cable,
Yes.
with this new website, you'll
Yes.
be able to go to the EDA site, and if you missed a live episode of the show,
right.
you'll be able to go back to the site and watch an archive episode of VI Focus on the Marketplace.
That's right. We
So-
are loading up all of the previously
Yes.
taped.
That's real important for people
and
to know.
And you know what? Why I should make.
Have you figured out where you wanted to go? Because Simile told me to ask you, did you have a preference as to where you want on the site?
I just want folks to be able to click and see the VI EDA Focus on the Marketplace. And what I want them to know is that it's locally produced.
That's right.
That it's being done by our own
That's right.
export
Exactly.
cameraman, Mr. Earl Mars.
That's right. That's right.
He's, I gotta give credit.
He got some talent.
And not only
I don't care what they say about him. I don't care what they say about Earl. He got some. He's got some.
I don't know what they're saying about him, but I know what he's doing, and he's the one that's making all of this look right to those who are watching on cable and those who will be able to see it on live stream on
But it's
internet.
important because a lot of
Yes.
folks have satellite TV.
Yes.
And they're unable to watch the public access, the government access channel.
Correct.
And so people have the convenience and the leisure to be able to go back and watch this episode
Right.
anytime
Right.
they choose and it's convenient for them.
And for those who are watching or even seeing this stream live on the internet, they should know that there is also a UVI student that is doing part of her intern.
You're just on the road.
I'm on the road.
You're just
Listen,
on the road, boy.
this is
You're gonna have
all
her blushing in a second. She's gonna
about-
run out the room or something.
I wish we could flip the camera on her, but I don't think she wants us to do that right now. But
She will melt and go to meltdown.
again, it's what we know the potential could be and that it exists. And that there are students in this room, and there's a young man, there she is, our intern, manning one of the camera, and there's another young man. We want the community to understand that if we demonstrate to our young
That's
young
right.
people the opportunity, I mean, he looks small, but he gave me a great handshake. And I'm just proud of him because I said to him, I said, you gave a handshake like a gentleman.
That's right.
So that's
Firm
a future
handshake, right?
entrepreneur
That's right.
there.
That's
His
right.
name is, Mr. Weeks, a young one.
Oh,
And I'm just happy that he's able to do this. And he's manning that camera quite well. Make sure that you show my younger side.
And
version.
by the way, the recent graduate of the University of Virgin Islands
Yes.
is Risha Thomas.
There she is.
All
Miss
right,
Thomas.
and that's that beautiful young lady you just saw, Risha,
Yes.
Risha Thomas, a recent graduate. Congratulations, Risha, on your graduation.
Thank you. Thank you
All right.
very much. All right. So why don't we introduce our guest today?
Yes.
And Ms. Wonderite, who is a participant in this program. But you know what? She's an entrepreneur. So even before she came to the program, she's been doing this. And I like entrepreneurs because I always say, the spirit of the entrepreneur is what drives our country and innovation. So how long have you been in business? And how long have you been doing this wonderful, wonderful product known as Crucian Mead?
Well,
Welcome, by the way.
Why, thank you very much. It is truly a pleasure and a privilege to be here and to be a part of the program, and to just to be a part of the energy that's surrounded, this creative energy that we hope will translate into the community and just bring so many more small business, small entrepreneurs along the way. Because the way is opening, as you said earlier. I've been in business formally for about maybe 7 years formally, but I started as a hobby, beekeeping. I love beekeeping. I love honeybees. It was the thing that sort of made it possible to connect with nature in a most dramatic way. They are very dramatic. So from the hobby, it evolved into doing value-added products and teaching beekeeping and so on and so forth, and working with the Department of Agriculture and their programs. Just sort of evolved, and so then I formalized it and became a business, I think in maybe 2007, something like that. It's a formalized the hobby.
Now in the Virgin Islands, we tend to call a Jack Spaniel and a bumblebee, or bee. We refer to them as bees, and we understand the BB and what it produces. A Jack Spaniel. What's the value other than they sting you? Do they have any value?
Very good question about Jack Spaniels.
I'm just curious.
They really are a very interesting breed. I think one of their major contribution is pollination, and they would pollinate more than anything else. They don't give honey or any of those sorts of things, but they do pollinate. So that they contribute
So
to that.
they're the cultivators.
Jack Spaniel.
Yeah, they go out and they,
Yeah, they
sort of create.
You know something about it.
No,
Yes,
I
I
know,
can
no,
tell.
no,
Oh,
no,
yes.
no,
So
no.
you
But
know
anyway.
enough. Yes.
Well, let me ask you this. In terms of how did you learn about the VIEDA's STEP program, and how did that afford you the opportunity? We mentioned earlier about you just coming back from a major marketing event, and I'd like you to talk about that experience for a while. But how did you learn about the STEP program, and how did you think your business product or your products could be featured in this program?
That's a really, it's almost serendipitous when you think about it. I mean, I've been making mead. I personally do not drink. I enjoy making it. I love making the wines and the other value-added products, you know, the honey mustards and the vinegars and all of those sorts of things that I can do with the honey from the bees that I raise, and from other sources, other honey sources. Some of the other beekeepers will give it in as well. But with the STEP program, I was at the Department of Agriculture's food fair, annual food fair in February, and June Archibald, who's a part of the program as well, was next door to me in the booth next to me for the first time, and we've been friends for years. I had not seen June for years, but you know, we knew each other when I worked with education.
That's correct. Yeah.
And in the 80s and 90s, you know, that's a while ago. So June mentioned this wonderful program that she was a part of, and that she said, you know, you have your honey mustards here, and you have your waxes and your pollens and so on, so you should consider it. I hadn't heard of it. And serendipitously, Tuesday after the fair, Denise Bennerson, who's also a part of the program, called me on the phone and said, you know, I just heard about this great program that's really for entrepreneurs, small-scale entrepreneurs that are offering you an opportunity to grow your program with guidance and so on and so forth. You might be interested. Call this woman named Miss Ken. I believe she's on island. And Wednesday I called, and Thursday I went for an interview, and so here we are several months later.
Here we are. Well, you know, as you mentioned about your initial involvement with the Department of Agriculture's program, last week, I think it was, there was a public town hall meeting held at the university under the sponsorship of Senator Jeanette Millen Young, and in that, the focus was on agriculture. Commissioner Peterson and I had a conversation about how we can evolve the conversation about agribusiness. And your name came up as one of the participants in the program. And I was able to tell the audience, Anthony, that she is in the STEP program. And in fact, I think she's on her way to Brazil and to New York and wherever else she's going to this international, to take her business internationally. And someone came up to me and said, that is amazing. How do we take entrepreneurs such as yourself and give them the exposure, particularly at the New York Summer Fancy Food, which is a massive, large initiative. Talk to us about that experience that you just came back from.
Yeah, I wanted to, before, that was phenomenal. It was truly a phenomenal experience and an incredible opportunity. But before if I may, please, certainly, I'd like to just speak to the agricultural aspect of it, because really, when we think about our survival, we think about food, shelter, and clothing. We do not think of clothing, shelter, food is first. And where do we get food except in agriculture? And I just wanted to say that, you know, the encouragement that we get from agriculture and the need for that, for our attention to that, is incredible. And the potential for business growth is right there in agriculture. Feed ourselves, if we grow to live, grow our food so that we can live better, we can then live better and grow bigger and better. So I think that agriculture is really the basis for that. In terms of fancy food, which is all about agriculture, in fact, in the very basic line of it, that was an incredible experience going there to have an opportunity to see there were about 1,000 exhibitors, over 1,000 exhibitors there from all over the world, you know, and all in the United States as well. This was in New York City.
Jacob Javits Convention Center?
At the Jacob Javits Convention Center, yes. It was a 4-day actually event. The first day, the 29th, were mostly workshops and so on, which were incredibly beneficial in awakening and offering information about how do you step into this arena, how do we get this knowledge, and what is it like, and then seeing the vendors there, getting ideas about how I went specifically to look at ideas around packaging. I wanted to see how they packaged. I wanted to stand close to booths and listen for how these negotiations went on, so that when my opportunity came, that I would be able to talk the lingo, as it were. You know, there was a whole thing on the lingo of specialty foods, but what is the lingo of negotiating a sale? You know, which you can talk about it, you can read it, but you have to feel it and hear it. And that's what I was able to come away with, to look at all the way we take a simple farm product and turn it into something magnificent in presenting it to make it appealing to a consumer.
Now, Jennifer, tell me this. As we talk about the STEP program and a local business from the Virgin Islands participating, and when they export their product, when we say international, by virtue of leaving the territory, it becomes international. Are we talking about truly international markets? Or are we talking about all of the above, international as well as the U.S. mainland, sending, exporting your product to the US
Truly
mainland?
international.
Okay.
And I think to what Wanda has just described about the opportunity in those workshops that she was exposed to at the Fancy Food, because there were folks who said, who asked, are you all just sending people to a food convention to do what? To display their products? And I mean, what is the gain? We said that plus, and I think the plus is what she just described, is understanding how you package the products. How do you negotiate a deal? How do you stand with a food distributor and say, the value of my product is this? Absolutely. And so when I got the report and checked in with the team that was traveling, we also had one of our marketing consultant travel with them to be that guide and that support, and saying, by the way, you want to make sure that you are standing next to your display, or you are, go over here and meet so and so. And when we heard that, and knew that there was going to be an opportunity for them to learn some strategies and some techniques, because you are truly international, you're competing, with a product. First of all, we happen to think it's a fantastic product. We think that it's a good product. We think it's worthy of being touted to the world, made in the U.S. Virgin Islands, in particular for one that she likes to say, made in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, so specific. But I think to further that question, the opportunity can only be provided for the growth if we give them the global exposure, which is on our new VI marketplace, which is strictly that of demonstrating the products, such as what we're looking at for the audience that's seeing this on TV right now, the products that are made. And I think, what I would like to ask Wanda is, there was an opportunity for her to participate in a taste of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and EDA hosted this reception in New York at a hotel.
It's called the Taste of the U.S. Virgin Islands?
And it was to showcase all of the participants from the Virgin Islands who traveled. Why don't you speak to that a moment and tell us what that was like for you demonstrating your products?
I was so gratified, actually, to just to experience the reception of the products. I was there with the mead and the honey mustard sauces, and of course, the Fancy Food. How do you display and present your product is critical to developing a market for it. Okay. But the fact that when the Italian press came by the table, and we had Carolyn Isaacs, I think she calls them tropical pops, which are her fruit popsicles. Yes. Okay. And June had her jellies and jams there, and Taj had his sushi sauce there, and Chinue had her lemongrass, and we had people from Switzerland come by and go back and say to her table send his son back to her table a couple of times for a cup of the lemongrass tea. And you would think that lemongrass tea, my goodness, or how in the world are you going to market ice pops around the world? I mean, come on, internationally. And yet there were exhibitors who were doing the same thing. They had ice pops or popsicles, and they had different teas. You had, so for us to be there, to have that opportunity to show our products, showcase our products, to have the experience to see how others do that, to see how we have so much here that we can create from and present to the world once we understand that and believe that what we have is really worthy.
There you
we
go.
have to believe that.
There you go.
And know that. We have to, more than believe, we have to know.
How, when you think of those who participated, how many participants from the Virgin Islands? And it sounded, it was a food event. And so are we then saying then the opportunity for export is really in the area of food-oriented type products?
It is incredible.
Is that what we're saying?
That is one, but it is an incredible opportunity. And that's why agriculture is so important.
There you go.
And that's why we have to also build our farmers to begin to look broadly at what they're doing beyond just producing the product. And what does this product then represent, and how can we offer
They're
this?
byproducts.
There
not
are
just the
value-added products.
holistic product,
That
or
is
the
correct.
aggregated product, but
That
there's
is
more that
correct.
can be
That is
extracted
correct.
from that.
That is correct. And one of the workshops, please, that I thought that was just phenomenal was the whole workshop on genetically modified foods and organic versus traditional versus genetically modified, which is really becoming quite an issue in the United States. And of course, they're talking about it in the World Trade Organization meetings right
Yes.
now.
Yes. Yes.
And we have to really, we're in a very, very wonderful position here to really become key players in, say, organic growing, or certainly growing without some of the treated pesticides or treated seedlings and so on and so forth.
Especially when people are becoming more health conscious.
Exactly.
And they're concerned
Exactly.
in terms of the content of a lot of the food that they
And we
consume.
can do that.
And people are looking, okay, how do I manage my diet to be to live a healthier
Absolutely.
lifestyle?
Absolutely.
And so there's a market out there that's looking for that type of product.
Absolutely. And we have, because we're so far away, if we really look at our agriculture and we look at the way we do things here generally, we could really control or influence the purity of what we do.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Well, I think, Anthony, to the point that Wanda's just raised, I think, again, you talk about this exposure that, our local producers were able to obtain at this fancy food. Here she is talking about the business of agriculture. And, last week at that forum that was held at the university that I mentioned earlier, there was this conversation about defining what is truly organic. And here she is coming back from a food show that is considered the preeminent nonprofit business trade association known as the Fancy Food Show. And I mean, it's an 86 billion, I said, specialty food industry. There are people who are very, very particular about the use of pesticide, the definition of organic products
Absolutely.
versus, what we consider to be things we get off the farm just fresh.
Right.
But I think the message here that we want to share with our community is that if we understand the importance of the business of agriculture, it is a part of the economy, and we can't separate it and think that it's just a hobby.
Absolutely.
We do have our hobby farmers. I mean, my dad, plants little things that we use, such as some of our herbs, and he grows his banana in the back of his yard, and it tastes very different. I tell people I like the banana better than the one you get in the supermarket because I know that it's ripened differently. But here is a product, and I think one of the things I'd like to do is to show, if we can, the camera,
Yes.
to focus a little bit on
I've
some
been
of
wondering
the
when we
product.
were going to get to that.
Man, I can't wait to taste that honey mustard sauce. And I don't even know if I should be saying sauce, because I don't want to belittle anything that you have here today, Ms. Wright, because I think your product, Crucian Mead, and everything from this. So why don't you talk to us about what you have here and how you think this opportunity to begin to grow and export which obviously is an economic generation activity, because we think eventually you're going to be so big and blown up that all those fancy people on those fancy food shows are going to want your products, and then you could be hiring a lot of young people, because I know that's your passion. The next thing you know, we're growing and manufacturing a wonderful product to the world. So talk to us about this, and may I taste the little special honey mustard?
Yes, you may, and thank you very
You've been
much. And
chomping
you're
at the bit
right.
since we started.
I really feel, though, and I think you're right, because this offers us, the money comes back into the Virgin Islands. The idea is to do it here when we export, because it's created here, it stays here, it comes back, it's new revenue that comes in. So we can do this. This, what you're looking at there, the bottle that's being passed around, is my fruit, greens, and other things. Now, I developed a honey mustard dressing. I wanted to call it a vinaigrette. I haven't, it was such a big word.
Shake it?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, you should. There needs to be a little marker on there that says "shake well," but before using. But it's made with locally my raw honey, and it's made with raw vinegar. My raw honey vinegar. I make my own honey vinegar. And then, of course, I add the spices and so on and so forth. In whatever my recipe is. And so that is that honey mustard dressing or vinaigrette. And I called it fruit, greens, and other things. It started off as a fruit dressing, and it has now moved to greens, and people are using it for their shrimp cocktail dips, and they're using it to saute and baste their fish dishes, and so on. So it's been quite popular, was quite well received at the fancy food taste for.
So may I taste this mustard dressing? I don't have any greens to go on this, and I don't have any salmon with me.
What I did there, and I'm going to offer some to you as well. Not this time again.
It's funny that as we're doing this, what's coming to mind.
I'll be the taster.
You be the taster.
What's coming to mind is there's I guess opportunity to be able to expand on this program, where what we're doing is we'll be able to have exhibitors to come in and demonstrate their product.
Oh, Anthony, I hear you, and yes, that's true.
Yes.
But Anthony,
this
is good. I could taste this on my snapper.
It is not sugar. It is excellent on fried fish. It is excellent, excellent. If you're going to do that,
there's a kick to it.
It is a little bit of mustard. I have a couple of spice variations.
I'm not going to break into hives or anything like that.
No, although it is a raw product, and that also promotes, because one of the things I learned at Fancy Food that I thought was just simply phenomenal was what makes my product different. And I thought about Famous Amos and his chocolate chip cookies, and there are 1,000 chocolate chip cookies on the shelf, and yet his is very successful as well. So what distinguishes my honey mustard dressing from anybody else's?
Yes.
And that's something I learned.
I was thinking that. I would say this would make an excellent salad dressing.
It is fruit, greens, and other things. That is correct.
Yeah, just think right away. I was like, whoa.
Greens and other things. So
Sandwiches.
The green is the salad.
And it has a nice little kick to it.
Yes, on my fish. Wow. Now, I'll tell you.
There's the fruit, greens, and other things. And this step has, helped me. And I tell you, the program is incredibly supportive. This is in different languages. It's going to be in Spanish, French, and other languages as well.
In fact, it's going to be in 32 of the main languages. So, folks, it'll be on our website. We're going to show a little bit about that new marketplace website that is specifically focused for our Virgin Islands participants in this program, the eligible small business concerns who are members and participant of this stage rate and export promotion program under the EDA. I think one of the things that I've learned as export and all kinds of requirements, shipping requirements that we must have, the nutritional facts that are on the bottle, the content, all of those things are part of what you're learning in this program that allows you to really step up your game, because I don't think the product itself is fabulous. It's how we package this and how we present it to the world that draws the attention. would you say?
Absolutely.
Packaging is everything.
Packaging is everything. That's true. And this is because it was in the refrigerator. I took it out
Yes.
of the fridge, and so it's fraying a little. But let me just say, with one of the things that we did learn were about the nutrition. You cannot move this off of this island in any substantive way. The FDA will not allow you to market it unless you have your nutrition facts
Yes.
done.
Yes.
So, same thing with the alcohol. I mean, I have to have the alcohol. It has to be analyzed. You have to do a lot of things, and these are the where I can stay local and I can market it like as that is. But if you're going to step up your game, as you say, you really need to be looking at how not only the packaging and how it looks, but also are you providing the information that will allow other countries to
accept
buy
it.
this.
Yes. Yes.
Is the Crucian meat product alongside with all the other big name brands of products in the local supermarket? Can I go into the local supermarket and find, because I just taste this. I agree
No,
with
you
Anna.
tasted the honey mustard. You haven't tasted
No,
the
that's what I'm
meat.
saying.
Oh, yeah.
saying I've just tasted that, and I'm saying there's no reason why this can't be alongside, side to side, with the other brands being offered as a choice
That's
to consumer when they go down the supermarket
Absolutely.
aisle
That is
and say, do I go with this one, which is an import coming from the outside, or do I go with the
Absolutely.
local product that is
Absolutely.
locally made by local?
That is correct.
Well, we want to
Absolutely.
seize this opportunity, Anthony, to make a special appeal to our local food purveyors or grocery stores, supermarket, restaurants.
The distributors,
The
suppliers.
distributors, the suppliers, especially distributors and suppliers, because they're
Absolutely.
critical to helping us to get the products, globally.
Absolutely.
To understand that the product, the content, the taste, the quality is high standard. And we believe that it's justifiable in getting these products. I mean, when you look at the different designs of the different bottles, I mean, those are factors that one thinks about in marketing. You say, how does this bottle fit on someone's fancy table or in
It has
at
a
a
gourmet look,
party?
huh?
It has that gourmet
That
look.
gourmet look.
And this is actually the honey wine, and we can't taste this because we are.
It's sealed and it's
it's
wine.
sealed, but
and
we're also-
we might look
yes.
like we're
I'm
having
gonna-
too much fun in the show,
But
right?
let me
someone
say
asked me, what is the honey wine? So can you talk to us about what that is?
Can we get a
Yes.
shot, a
Yes.
duck shot on this thing?
This happens to be, it's mead. It's actually mead, and technically
what's
it's
mead.
not a wine technically.
Okay.
Technically mead, and that's because wine technically is made from fruit juice and sugar. This is made with honey, although I have fruit in it. So technically it is not a wine because it doesn't use the juice of the fruit as the fermenting, and honey becomes your fermentable sugar.
Okay.
And mead dates back to biblical times.
Okay.
So you'll find references to it in the Bible. It's that thing that the knights of the round table drank tankards of, a tankard of mead, and the Vikings drank tankards of it. And it is the original drink for honeymoons, actually, when the bride and groom, who didn't really know each other very well because marriages were
Arranged,
arranged,
yeah.
exactly, and they only met at the time of the wedding, a couple days before, they would send them on a month journey with a month's supply of honey wine or mead. So they would go on, where are they? They're on their honey month or their honeymoon.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's how that all came about. So that's how old this is. Mead is a very old.
Wow.
My meads are anywhere between 16 and 17% alcohol at the end of fermentation.
Okay.
They are at least 2 years old, so it's an artisan product.
Okay.
So I will not mass produce this.
Yeah.
I will produce it, and I will produce large quantities, but it will not be a mass production because of the aging time.
Yes.
And that
Not
that
for a
makes
population of 1 billion people.
not a baby.
And that makes it even extraordinarily special, because to get a bottle of your mead, you're talking about something that is super valuable.
Exactly.
I like the story of the honeymoon and that they take
liked
it
it, huh?
on their
I knew
journey.
you'd like that.
That is so sweet and romantic. Let me just tell people, you got to start drinking this if you're serious about your honeymoon and love life.
But I must just add that it is somewhere in terms of taste between a sherry and a port. It's not as as heavy as a quart, it's a
Okay.
little light, so it's an
Okay,
after
yeah,
dinner
I can
wine.
see this, okay.
It's a digestif, and it's meant to sip, and so that you will remember what you said the next day.
Oh,
And
there
what
you go.
So you're meant to sip it and to help you with your digestion. That's why it's they
It's
call
a
them digestifs,
digestives,
as
okay.
opposed to aperitifs at the beginning. So they give
Okay.
you a digestif.
I
there.
just learned something.
Miss
Now-
Sun-
now for the-
Miss
for the-
Jennifer,
for the
I believe
folks-
you probably already
For the
knew
folks
that.
that's watching this program right now, because we're live in their living rooms and kitchens and
Oh,
bedrooms.
okay.
And if they want to, we talked about the website, the USVImarketplace.com.
Correct.
This product is available on the website, and to let people know where they can go on the website to get more information. What do you say?
Well, let's go to the website.
It's right here.
Why
There you
can't
go.
we bring it up? It's known as the USVImarketplace.com, and it is sponsored by the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, and it is where you can find island fresh products made. So if the camera can focus on that, you'll see, for example, all of these are participants in our local EDA program, the STEP program, that is. Now, if you take us a little bit to categories, there you go. There is a tropical popsicle that Ms. Wanda mentioned a few moments ago from one of our participants. I think she's in our St. Thomas program. So you have these specialty. Here are our Caribbean herbal, which are beautiful candles. If the audience can see this, but I want to encourage
you can
them
see
to
this
go
definitely.
on USVImarketplace.com, and you're going to see here is June's VI fruit preserve. I brag about her sorrel syrup that I put on my Belgian waffle because it makes it even fancier than it sounds.
there you go.
And there is your
Crucian
Crucian
mead.
mead.
All right.
So the website allows for individuals to go on this, open their account, do their wish list. We also have My Cart, which means they can be starting to check things off and put it in their cart, and then check out and pay for the goods internationally. The product shows that we're island proud, island made. You can see some of our dolls. An incredible amount of products that are here in the Virgin Islands, made in the Virgin Islands, and is of high quality. When you think of Noni Healing Rub, we're talking about products, the Noni plant that everyone is excited about. Well, you can buy that here. Here's Dr. Denise Benderson's note cards and beautiful photography, for those who have been fortunate for her to take their beautiful pictures. Say Goodbye to Dry. Here's Paradise Bliss hair and body repair oil. I'm talking about products that are, here's Taj sauce. It's sesame and ginger infused. He was featured, by the way, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where the head of that particular expo last week walked up and says, "You guys are awesome." And I think we should, on VI Source, they can click and see those pictures. June Archibald wrote a very great article about that experience. So for those who are into sushi, you got to try Taj's own locally made sushi sauce. The bottom line is, Anthony, is that the STEP
So if you're in the STEP program, you will be featured.
That's correct.
On the USVI.
That's correct.
Marketplace.com.
And because this website was paid for under the grant that we submitted to the federal
so
government.
you have to create
Right.
resources like this
Right.
to be able to showcase
Right.
the different companies.
And I want to say that the effort that this project that we're able to produce is simply because we go after available funding source from the federal government. Because we know our own limitations in terms of our local funding from the local government to promote these things. We're saying at EDA we're not going to wait for that. We're going to go after where we can find the funding. And so what Nadine Marchenican does is that she combs where the funds can be found and submit grants so that we can promote people like Wanda Wright and many of the others that we've mentioned.
Fantastic.
There is one thing I think I want to ask Wanda as we wrap up this segment of our show today, Anthony, is what advice would you give, Wanda, to a young person who's just graduated from high school, college or whatever, and they've got good ideas, talents. What would you tell them about this experience and how to do this. You know, I mean, you're youthful, but they got a little youthfulness on their part, a little more than you and I. You know,
You know it's the truth.
so they got energies, and we want to focus their energy in the right place.
Sure.
What would you say to them about becoming true entrepreneurs and beginning to develop products that can be exported?
A couple things, Jennifer, and I just first, dream big, dream largely,
I'm with you.
hugely, and don't be limited by what you see in front of you. Just dream hugely. Find a mentor. Find someone who either shares your passion for a particular goal that you have, or exhibits a particular characteristic that you want to emulate, that you think will get you where you want to go. But dream hugely. Dream hugely. And when you dream, keep your dream work quiet, silent. You know, because the universe will present things to us.
Yes.
And when an idea whose time has come, it has come. If you receive it and you work it, it's yours. If you don't, someone else will, because it's an idea whose time has come.
Right, exactly.
You know, so nurture your dream work. Keep it close, but not so close that you suffocate it. Go out there and risk. You said it yourself. You know, when you were talking earlier about whether this is a good time to promote businesses or not, or to start a new business, to go into business now in a recession or so on and so forth. You do have to have some resources, but you may have to go down to the bone with it. You know, but if it's your passion, then live it. So what I would say to them would be dream bigly.
Yeah.
Find a mentor and go for it, not to be limited by what you see and the things that say you can't. Only by expand to the things that are open to you, because it will be there. It's there. You can do it.
Fantastic.
I can't think of a better way to end
Yeah.
this segment of the
That was
show.
beautiful.
And
That was
in fact, Wanda, thank you so very much. I believe that this is just a beautiful segue into Kusa Holloway's new initiative on her incubator training center, to take those individuals that Wanda has just put the word out there and has blessed them to start.
Yeah, I was
training.
chomping at the bits to bring in Kusa, because I was like, here it is, you have the STEP
Wonderful.
program, and now we're talking about the incubator program, and if those recipients of the STEP program can take advantage of the incubator program, I was chomping at the bit, and here it is. It's a beautiful segue to say those that who would like to expand and go beyond the horizon of the Virgin Islands and look at other opportunities outside the Virgin Islands, that we now have an exciting incubator program that provide assistance to those who are startups, you know, going into business for the first time. Tell me all about this program. This is some fantastic news.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show once again. This is a really fun program. Actually, it is the idea came about a year or so ago, 2 years ago. EDA said we need to provide a place where we can really get these entrepreneurs into a system where we can mentor them, where we can provide the services that they need, so we can build these sustainable businesses within our territory, so we can now provide our own employment opportunities instead of looking for outside opportunities for our residents. We applied for a grant from the Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration, and we received that grant for $1 million. And here lies the incubator program. The program is really, our mission with the program is to create a critical bridge between the EDA, existing EDA programs and services, so that way we can bring in those entrepreneurs who are interested in the things of where we're trying to go forward with the EDA and how we're trying to set up our economic development within the territory. Food and agribusiness, information technology, tourism, things of that nature. And then just linking them to all that sources that we already have within our territory that they can tap into, so that they can grow these sustainable businesses. So that's where the incubator is. That's our main premise and the mission of the incubator. One of the things also is that, excuse me, with our grant, over 70% of the grant funding is just to provide professional services to these entrepreneurs.
70%.
Over 70%.
So you literally will have experts holding their hands.
Exactly.
To walk them through in terms of giving them the tools that they need to
Exactly.
envision their dreams,
Exactly.
their creative style, creativeness, and to say, I'm not doing this by myself.
Exactly.
I have the help and the assistance where you have the funding, the various funding mechanism, funding sources, and you now have a technical, if you will, platform that provide the technical know-how to say, we will help walk you through this process.
Right, because a lot of entrepreneurs, they have these big ideas, like Miss Mead said, like Miss Wright said, I'm sorry, that, they have these wonderful ideas, but they're kind of like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what is my first step. I have no clue. Now they can come into the incubator and we can provide that mentor, that business consultant to sit with them, create a plan and say, okay, within the next year, you're going to be at this point. But let me be clear, it's not only for new entrepreneurs.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Really?
No, we're actually looking for actual existing businesses
To help them to
help
survive.
them get to that next stage.
Right, to
They're-
sustain them, to keep them afloat.
Exactly.
Okay.
To provide those services, they may be saying, you know what, I've been in the same position for the last 5 years
And have
I
grown.
want to take my business
Yeah.
to that next level. Can you help me? And we will be doing some of that as well. So it's not only for new entrepreneurs, it's also for those existing businesses who need that help to get them to that next stage. Because we want businesses to not only just springboard, but we want them to grow.
Okay, so I'm sitting home, and I've been beating my head and trying to figure out, what am I going to do?
Right.
Jobs are scarce. I have some great ideas. So do I now come to the incubator location and say, I want to learn more about this program and find out what is it I can do to take advantage and to benefit from this program? Help me
Yes.
walk us through that.
So basically what you would do is you would call us. All of our applications and things like that, we're still working on getting those put on the website, but those will be available on our website as well. But you can call our incubator program and we will set up a day and time to meet with you and talk about what your needs are and how the incubator can help you grow your business and see how we can fit you in. Because remember, it's not only about just coming into the incubator and having this nice space.
Yeah, it's not about a physical
It's
plan.
not about a physical plan. It's
Yeah.
really about growing that business and helping that entrepreneur get to that next
An
level.
environment
So
that is set
now
up
we
to do that.
have, because what we're looking for is we're looking to have these incubator clients graduate out of the program, and now they're out within the community renting commercial space,
Right.
retail space. They're renting space at one of the at the industrial park, manufacturing products like Miss Wanda Wright or something like that. Because an incubator is just a place for you to grow, and
Right.
then you got to get out.
Right, I like
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
That,
It's
that's
just
a
a
great
place.
example
It is,
of,
yeah.
most people, when you think of an incubator, you think of a baby being born
Right.
a little early, and you place them in this protective environment and provide all the services.
But that's what you're doing.
That's exactly
You-
what
you
we're
are
doing.
protecting
That's
that,
right.
Right.
aspirant.
Yes.
Beautiful aspirant.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Kusa made a point about the nature of the program that I think I'd like to ask her to expound a little bit on when she said the program purpose, the primary purpose is to surround new and existing entrepreneurs with the necessary support services. Can you talk a little bit about what those support services will look like? And I also think that while we haven't formally made our open houses yet, you can talk about where you're setting up this incubator center.
Okay. Excuse me. The incubator will be at the William D. Roebuck Industrial Park, which is right off of the highway, across the street from Public Safety. So that's where it'll be housed. What we're offering to new or existing entrepreneurs is not only affordable space. When you come into the incubator program, we have offices already set up with desks, phones, computers. So you will really have all of those office support mechanisms in place with the price you're going to pay for the space. So you take away all of that. You take away all of their distractions, as I call them. They're having to set up a phone, having to set up internet services, having to pay WAPA, having to, you take away all that kind of distractions so they can focus on the business. Aside from that, they are receiving the professional consultants at no cost to them. That's huge.
And that's a big
Oh,
help
that's huge.
because resources are limited to begin with.
Correct.
Exactly.
And consultants are not cheap.
Right.
No,
Okay.
they're not.
And the fact that you're going to have access to these experts that will give you the kind of advice
Exactly.
to guide you and point you in the right direction is just a phenomenal
Exactly.
thing.
And it's not only just the business consultants to come in and help you with, say, your business plan, or, you know, you're trying to maneuver a certain marketing strategy or something. It's just like what Mrs. Wanda Wright said. Those consultants to maybe come in because you have a value-added food product and you need to get that FDA certification in order to sell your product. We can bring in somebody to help you do that.
Nice.
You know, say you need to get, you know, there are certain things that there's certain certifications for your products. You know, it may not be FDA, it may be EPA, it may be something else. You know, and some of those federal programs to get those certifications are quite tedious. And if you don't know the way around, you can lose really precious time. Something that should have taken you maybe 3 months.
And you get frustrated and
You
said,
get
you know,
frustrated.
I can't do this.
Right,
This is
but
too
we
stressful.
have the funding to bring in someone
Right.
who can walk you through that process. So now the process doesn't take you a year. Maybe it'll take you 2 or 3 months.
So this becomes really, when we talk about incubation, this now becomes an education
Right.
for those who, you know, who've never experienced going into business, but now looking to venture in, but simply saying, I lack the know-how, the knowledge, the tools.
Right.
This is now a place where you can go in and it's the right environment to teach you
Right.
all the things you need to know to navigate going into business.
Correct. But it's going to be like an aggressive, informal
Oh yeah,
business
because there's a time
university.
a time constraint that is
Right.
involved. Yeah.
It's going to be an aggressive, informal business university.
Business university, I like that.
Get your books ready.
There
Yeah.
you go. So when you graduate, you're graduating to the level where you're actually now becoming a part of this economic revitalization effort by being a business that can help sustain.
And like a mother eagle,
Yeah.
you know,
You let
they
them
take their
fly.
chick and it's time to get out,
Well,
throw them out.
They're all
You just start
Well,
flapping your wings.
Right.
That's it. It's over with. You know.
Well, let me
so-
put it this way. Kusa was given a presentation, an overview of the incubation plan that she wrote, and she was so emphatic that this is not a place where you're going to come and sit and think, oh, okay, I'm in an air-conditioned office, or you know, the EDA's incubator program is paying my WAPA bill or my phone bill or whatever. She said, you will not be in this program for longer than necessary. And if you know Kusa Holloway, she is determined that you will get out and flap your wings.
Because you measure
and so
progress.
we
You-
have
you
to do it.
measure
You have to measure your
every
progress.
every step of the way how these people are doing
Yeah.
and whether or
Right.
not they're making an honest
Yeah.
effort
Right.
to really do this.
In fact, I think Kusa may want to talk about the grant has certain specification for what we call graduating from the university of the incubator program at EDA. Why don't you talk about it? Because in order for us to sustain this program and to demonstrate the worthiness of receiving the $1 million the next
working.
time around,
That it's working.
talk about how that must work.
Well, first of all, the grant is a 2-year grant. The grant sunsets, this particular grant period sunsets in January of 2015.
Okay.
So we don't have much time. That's why I say it's an aggressive business university. So you have to be really sure about what you want and that you're going to put the work in to get this done. Because portion of the grant as well states that there is some funding for individuals who graduate out of the program to provide them some relocation support services. So if you are ready to do the work, we're going to give, the federal government says, hey, we'll surround you with all the support services you need. Make sure you graduate out of the program, and hey, even for added measure, we'll help you get into a new place.
Wow.
You can't ask for much more than that.
This is
Yeah.
just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely
This is
phenomenal.
actually phenomenal. And I wanted to talk about another portion
Right.
within the grant. And I think a lot of the seasoned business owners will like this portion, because in order for us to actually achieve this grant and be awarded this grant, there was a stipulation that we had to assist in entrepreneurs or businesses that were affected by natural disasters. So Hurricane Otto, tropical storm, all of these little tropical storms and things that may not have been actual hurricanes, but they created a lot of damage and hardship for some of our entrepreneurs here within the territory. Case in point, the tropical storm that we had that washed out Frederickstead.
Right.
You know, there were some businesses that were hurt by that. So the grants
closed their
and
doors.
closed their doors because of that. Correct,
Yeah.
Ms. Hill. That the grant provides that we can do some off-site assistance to them as well. Bring in the business consultant and say, hey, we know this storm set you back or closed your doors. What can we do to get you open again, get you back to where you need to be? So there's some type of assistance there for that as well. So,
Fantastic.
you know, don't think it's just because you're new. You know, there's different components, and I think
Right.
almost any entrepreneur can take part in our services at some point. And I really would like for them to come, because like I said, 70%, and if everybody could do the math, 70% of, you know, $1 million is about $700 and something thousand.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that we have
Right.
to offer these professional services at no
Great
cost
deal.
to the entrepreneurs.
You
Please take advantage of that.
You cannot, I mean, you can't ask for a better incentive, better program than what you've just heard. This is the kind of launch pad, if you will, that will allow people to springboard
Yeah.
Yes.
from that sort of stagnant place, trying to figure out, you know, where do I go from here? This really offers up and open up the door for you to say, okay, you know what, I need to go through this business university program, like going to any university, and say, okay, I want to learn how to become an entrepreneur, and I now have help. To not someone just simply giving me advice and say you're on your own.
Exactly.
It's you now have there's a place you can go to that will allow you to enable you and give you the necessary skill sets to be able to understand the dynamics of how and what you got to do to go into business. This is
Exactly.
just absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
It's
certainly,
just one
please
thing
ask.
to do,
Yes.
have the skill sets and to get the knowledge and the information and all of that. But I think what I'm hearing from you, Ms. Crusade, is that you actually have the support to implement it. And
That's the
that
key.
is
That's the key.
critical. It's one
You
thing,
know.
information is simply
It is
information.
extremely frightening.
Until we put it into practice.
It's a frightening
And
endeavor to
it's
say I'm going to
also-
go into business and you like, how do I do
How
this?
do I do it?
how to do it. You need to have that support
Yeah.
to hold hand. I think you mentioned the
Yes.
word hold hand, or you,
Yes.
one of you
Yes.
did, and walk through that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think
That's critical.
I think to that point, Wanda, and the beauty of this program, and then we're going to bring some reality check because checking this because we're not going to be able to service everyone, but we want to spend the money where we think the greatest opportunity exists to impact, especially those companies or small businesses that existed during one of the disasters in the last few years, because the grant has those very specific requirements. But I think what we're saying is a lot of people are just worn out, tired. Some of our small businesses and entrepreneurs are beaten down. I mean, the economy has just zapped our energy level. And we thought with this grant, and I mean, we were extremely thankful and grateful for the application going through and being approved, because we've been trying to start an incubator program for a while, haven't we, Kusa?
Yes.
You want to talk about how, you know, the efforts with the legislation that asked a few years ago for the study to be done to determine, can you speak
Right.
to that, and then sort of bring us to a reality check about how much we can do. $700,000 we think, because we're going to do very wise things, but talk about the study that talked about the incubator
And
program.
unfortunately, we're wrapping up, so we have
Yeah.
to kind of.
Not a
yeah.
problem. I'll make it quick.
We'll come back again.
Through the legislation by the Senate, they requested that EDA performs a study to see the feasibility of an incubator within the territory. Angle Technology performed the study, and basically it said that specifically St. Croix
Yes.
is primed for an incubator because of not so much the distress nature, but the nature of we have all of these independent entrepreneurs like Miss Wanda Wright and things like that, who they need a little bit more support services, the STEP programs, the incubator, SBDA, SBDCs, to kind of just bring that, you put that padded cushion around them and mold.
Microloan program.
Yes, the micro SBA, you know, things.
This
just
is a
put-
bundle
Of services.
Exactly.
services, right?
There we go.
And
Exactly.
resources.
I like
Exactly.
that.
So, you know, to put that cushion around them and kind of support them with that. And of course, in the study, it stated that those areas that we really should be looking at is professional services, food and agribusiness, tourism, information technology, those are the areas that we really should be looking
Wow.
at to incubate.
Wow.
Right.
This is good stuff.
So it didn't just kind of happen that we
Yeah.
got a grant.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of legwork and framework was done ahead of the grant.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why we were awarded the grant, because we were kind of, in a sense, prepared.
Right.
This is exciting
Right.
news.
You
This
know,
is
so-
Yeah.
absolutely,
And,
absolutely
and I want to take this opportunity as we begin to wrap up, because I think what we're going to do, Anthony, is that on the VI EDA Marketplace show, we're going to bring Kusa back, maybe
we have to
with one or
circle
two of
back.
her
Absolutely.
new entrepreneurs, spirited folks that are going to be in the program, and give an update to the community. But I would be remiss if I don't say that our CEO, Mr. Percival Clouden, really, with the guidance of our board, is committed to us doing these kinds of bundling of services.
You have to.
Because I think that, we can't just speak about one aspect of our EDA program, meaning just our lending program or our EDC program. We got to talk about what else should we be doing
Right.
as an economic development agency.
Right.
And so the incubator program is going to provide that opportunity for people like, Kruja and me to grow and expand,
Absolutely.
but providing them with the nurturing and the cajoling and the encouragement and the push at times that may be necessary, but also ensuring that, this bundle of services that's available that can springboard the opportunity for the entrepreneurs. So I'm excited about this incubation program. I want to thank Kusa for agreeing to take on this task. She had to step out of what she's been doing, as everyone knows her in the enterprise zone, as I said earlier, and she's worked so hard on the Frederickstead town plan, but she was smart, you see. What Kusa did is that, for those who don't know, she's also a master degree candidate in economic development, one of the few, by the way, that exists in the territory. She's credentialed,
fantastic.
but she's passionate about this, and when she wrote the Frederickstead town plan, part of what she concerned herself with was how to establish incubator facilities in the town of Frederickstead. So, I want the public to understand that what you find at EDA are persons like Kusa Holloway, who owns this. She's taken it as a part of her passion. And so when you have that, plus now you have the resources to help her get to those companies and individuals in our territory, that, and in particular in St. Croix. And yes, we are starting on St. Croix. I know that there's some folks who are asking, why didn't we extend the program to St. Thomas? But when we applied for the grant, the grant concerned itself with where the disaster
was the
occurred. And
biggest.
so we're starting here, and as we test this and prove with very successful entrepreneurs, we believe that we can justify the existence of continuing the program, whether we get either local funding or find venture capitalists to help support this initiative. I'm just excited about what's happening at EDA at this point. Anthony.
Unfortunately, we've expired, used up our time, and I'm hoping that we could then circle back and talk about your recent involvement in the summit in Washington, D.C., to talk about,
Well, just very quickly, may I
Sure.
just say,
Sure.
the EDA was thankful for the opportunity to co-sponsor the Washington, D.C. Economic Development Summit that was sponsored in partnership with the Office of the Governor and some wonderful Virgin Islanders that are living outside of the territory. And we were able to pay for our co-sponsor that summit. So we're excited about that. We just received the report on all of those who participated, the ideas that some of the folks have, and we'll come back and speak specific to what we're going to do with that from our perspective at EDA, because there are other agencies that were also involved in this. But I also want to give you very quickly, I promised the last time that we were here, that every time that we go off island to spread the word about our EDC program, in particular, Economic Development Commission tax incentive, and I want to emphasize the word incentive. We were just in New York, and I'm thankful for the partners who traveled with us. Part of the requirements to be an EDC beneficiary is that our EDC companies must join in the efforts in marketing this program. It is a part of their certificate, a requirement. But more importantly, I like those who come forward instead of saying, I know it's a part of my commitment, but rather I'd love to promote the Virgin Islands Economic Development Initiative. And one of our newest partners, Ocwen Financial Corporation, and their CEO, Mr. Bill Irby, traveled with us to New York recently, and we held a forum in partnership sponsored by Diageo. Diageo was very gracious in allowing us to use their wonderful facility in New York, so we didn't have to spend government money, the people's money, as I like to say, to do that. But at that function, we had over 40 financial services, hedge fund managers, and other 2 hotel developers who were accepted invitation that the governor sent, and Percy Cloud, and they came, and Mr. Irby spoke about why he's doing business in the Virgin Islands, and why this is a good place to do business. So I think from a corporate perspective, he was able to speak the language to other CEOs, and they're like, really? Why have you kept a secret, Virgin Islands? And so we keep saying, as Mr. Cloudon likes to say, I got a secret and I need to spread it, and so he's been doing that quite well. We had a very good one-on-one session in Boston with about 4 companies, and in fact, 2 of them are going to be here in September to do their due diligence on their own. We learned some things from some of our financial services that they take about 18 months before they make the decision to move, because you're talking about multi-million-dollar corporations and individuals that want to make sure that all the necessary infrastructure is in place, and they got to check us out too, as we're checking them out, because we're checking them out. But one quick update on the trip from Denmark. I just want to tell you that we're beginning to see some dividends.
Nice.
I'm very happy about that. Last Friday, last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, even though it was holidays, for us it was, unimportant, important holidays, but unimportant that our offices were closed, because we had developers coming in from Denmark and who were at the forum, the event that we held in Denmark. And I'm happy to tell you that I'm excited about what that possibility means for the territory. The folks had 3 wonderful days. We spent them, we assigned them to some local realtors. I'm very pleased that we're exposing Virgin Islands realtors, especially native-born realtors, to be a part of this resurgence of our economy by doing their part to show quality properties, both commercial and personal real estate. And then, they traveled to St. John as an invitation of the governor to come and visit and see, how we celebrate both our Independence Day, our own Virgin Islands Independence Day, and of course, 4th of July. And then we sat down to business on Friday morning at our offices in St. Thomas. And they left feeling very, very encouraged. But it was a result of our marketing event trip to Denmark, and they came in such short order, and I'm hoping that they'll make that commitment to the next level. So I just wanted to update the community on what we're doing in terms of that. It's a lot. It's really a lot. We're very busy. Someone said to me that I'm tired, but
we are certainly in the months to come. There's so much to continue to engage and discuss, and I want to thank you for your participation today and contribution, of course, as a co-host. Wanda Wright, thank you so much, and congratulations on the progress that you're making and the success of Crucian Mead. And of course, congratulations, Cruza, for the new appointment and responsibility that you have. It sounds like a rather fascinating, exciting opportunity. I'm really happy for you on that.
Thank you.
And as we close out, let me just say that the EDA is actively involved in partnering and finding, as Jennifer would say, she says, like, anything to do with economic development, she is for it 1,000%. And so we just want to let the community of the EDA is doing their part. And I really want to thank the EDA for all of the different things that they're doing to help move this economy forward. Tomorrow, as you know, the EDA has partnered with SETI, the Sincoa Economic Development Initiative, and tomorrow is the 2nd Wednesday of the month. And so we are going to continue the if you will, the economic development plan to talk about the things we need to do to help move it forward. So we invite you to come to 2+2 tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. to hear and to learn more about all of the great economic development news here in the U.S. Virgin Islands and the island of St. Croix. This has been another exciting edition of the Virgin Islands Focus on the Marketplace. I'm Anthony Weeks. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. We'll talk soon.